Hey, I'm here with today's assignment from Unit 6, Lesson 16. This is on page 127, and you're doing numbers 1 through 6. All right, so number 1, a wheel rotates 3 times per second, so every second 3 times. The center of the wheel does not move. What angle does point P rotate through in 1 second? So in 1 second, this rotates once, twice, 3 times. So every time it rotates, that's an angle of 2 pi. So if it happens over and over, 1 time around is 2 pi, 2 times around is 4 pi, 3 times around is 6 pi. So 6 pi is the angle it passes through in 1 second of time. So it's really fast. 2, a bicycle wheel is spinning in place. The vertical position of a point on the wheel in inches is described by the function. So f of t equals 13.5 sine of 5 times 2 pi times t plus 20, where time is measured in seconds. What is the meaning of 13.5 in this context? So in this context, the 13.5 is like the amplitude, which would be the radius of the wheel. So the wheel has a radius of 13.5 inches. All right, and then what about the 5? So the 5, if it's in a whatever t is for time in seconds, the 5 times 2 pi, that's how far the wheel is traveling or like rotating. So the 2 pi is a full circle, and then the 5 would mean it happens 5 times. So 5 revolutions per second. And then the mean of the 20, I would say like the center of the wheel is 20 inches off the ground. That would be the midline of the function. All right. Okay, number 3. Each expression describes the vertical position in feet off the ground of a carriage on a Ferris wheel after t minutes. Which function describes the largest Ferris wheel? So the largest Ferris wheel is going to be the one that has the largest amplitude. And so we have an amplitude of 100, and then 200, and then 250. So since that's the largest amplitude, that means it's the largest radius of the Ferris wheel and would make it the largest Ferris wheel. So D. Number 4, which one has a period of 5? So remember that the period is equal to 2 pi divided by the whatever number is here. And so this would be 2 pi divided by 1/5, which is equal to 2 pi, 2 pi times 5 over 1, which is 10 pi. So not A. For B, 5x. So 2 pi divided by 5. That's just 2 pi divided by 5. So that's not 5 as a period. So next, 5 over 2 pi times x. So 2 pi divided by 5 over 2 pi. Okay, that's 2 pi times the reciprocal, 2 pi over 5. Oh, and then they're both on top. So 2 pi times 2 pi is 4 pi squared over 5. That's not 5, so it's not C. It must be D. And just to verify, 2 pi divided by 2 pi over 5 is equal to 2 pi times the reciprocal, which would be 5 over 2 pi. Now the 2 pi's cancel out, and we have a 5. So it is D again. Number 5, what is the period of the function? So f of t equals the cosine of 4 pi times t. Explain how you know. So I'm going to find the period by dividing 2 pi by 4 pi. And when I do that, the pi's cancel out, and this reduces to 1/2. So the period is equal to 1/2. So if we sketch a graph, 1/2 is right here, and it's cosine. So cosine starts up here, and then the 1/2 period, the period ends here. And then the middle of the period is right here at the bottom. And then it has midline points right there and there. So this is what one cycle looks like. And then the second cycle would end a 1/2 later, which is at 1. There'd be another end of the cycle, middle of the cycle, and then the midline point. Okay, so something like that. Finally, you had number 6. Here is a graph of y equals the cosine of x. Sketch a graph of y equals cosine of 2x. So this has a period of 2 pi. Cosine of 2x has a period of pi. So, excuse me. One cycle would start here and end at pi, and it has the minimum point there in the middle, and then the midline point in the middle of that. It's very skinny. On the negative side, maybe the end of the cycle this way, with the middle right here, and then midline point in here. Okay, and so you can actually do one more cycle on each side. So this has 2 cycles up here, but when we multiply theta by 2, that doubles the number of cycles and makes the length or the period of the cycle shorter. Okay, so there we go. How do the two graphs compare? So again, we've talked about comparing things a lot, and so I want to say, like, what do they have that's the same? What do they have that's different? So they have the same midline, right? The midline of this one is at 0, and the midline of this one is also at 0. So they have the same midline. They have the same amplitude. The amplitude here is 1, and the amplitude here is also 1. They have a different period because this cycle occurs in a distance of 2 pi, whereas this one occurs in a distance of only pi. So same midline, same amplitude, different period. All right, so that is the end of the assignment. I hope you have a great day. Oh shoot, I forgot to